Cattle dog. Free. Free. Ready? Stay. Atta boy. Good boy. Free. Atta boy. Cattle dog. Leash up. Leash up. All right. All right. Good job. Good job. Good morning. Imagine you're being able to command your dog to freeze in place. No matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, right then, as soon as you say stay, off leash, your dog stops right there. I'm Bryan Bailey, and for 40 years, I've been helping dog owners like yourself create the dog that you want to live with. Yeah, isn't that something? Well, let me tell you how we're going to train the behavior that you just saw in 6 simple steps. Okay, the reason why it's so simple, first of all, dogs know how to freeze. You know how to freeze. Dogs, they see prey like a squirrel, they'll freeze for a second and make a decision to go. Wolves do the same thing when they're hunting prey. Oftentimes they will freeze because they feel threatened by something. They want to figure out what's going on. So we already have genetics to tap into, which makes this behavior much simpler than teaching a behavior like come when called. Okay, again, I told you 6 simple steps. You can train your dog to do exactly what you saw Captain do, guarantee in about 2 to 3 days of good, solid training. All right, what is step number 1? Cattle dog, hup, atta boy. First thing you do is teach your dog the command stay. And what I'd like you to do is refer to my video, Taking Stay to New Heights. And I'll drop a link to that video down below. When you teach your dog to stay, I prefer that they be on a raised platform. You'll learn why in that video. But make sure that they understand what the word stay means. And that means that you stop and you remain in that spot until I tell you to do another thing. And for example, with Captain, I used the command free to get him off the box. So that's step 1, establish the stay command. Free, attaboy. Step 2, we want to start adding some movement into the behavior. You already established a static stay. Now I want to move and suddenly switch into a static position. And the way that I do that is I use a long leash. So I'm going to take a long leash right here. And my long leash, as you'll see, is attached, well, in this instance, a kettlebell. So why? It's heavy enough to support the training, and yet I can move it around. I can take it indoors, outdoors. You can change environments, and you have the immediate ability to anchor your dog in place. Now, of course, if you don't have a kettlebell, use your brain. Come up with something that'll work for you. You can anchor your dog to a fence, to a tree, to a post, even to another person. But anchor your dog first. Take the other end of the leash. Get a good feel for how far this leash will stretch. About right there. So I can see the ground. Sometimes you can even mark the ground. If you do that, free, don't do it with something that the dog can see. For example, if you put down those little flags that they use to mark underground utilities, anything obvious to you is obvious to your dog. And that's the cue that they will take. Remember, I learned with my eyes as a dog before I learned with any other sense. They will see that little flag, and when you do enough training with that little flag, if you don't have that flag present in the future, no guarantee that your dog will stay. So just kind of go slow in the beginning, don't make it obvious, and then take your dog out to the end of the leash. So let me demonstrate. Here we go. So now I'm going to hook Captain up to his collar. A couple of key important things about the collar that you hook the leash up to. Captain's wearing a slip collar right now, so I'm going through both rings. Both rings. We do not want a compression. We do not want to hook this up to a prong collar initially. You don't want to even hook it up to a martingale at this time. Just hook up to a buckle collar or snap collar, what have you, so it doesn't really compress. Because trust me, when the dog hits the end of this line, it'll give a little bit of a jolt. And that's good enough to teach this behavior. All right, I'm going to slip my other leash up here a little bit higher up. So it is the highest leash collar on the neck there. So actually, let me undo this for just 1 second. Get it around. You want to have the leash that you're holding in your hand attached to, like for example, Captain with the slip lead here. I'm going to have this be the highest leash on his neck, because that allows me to not have to go through what I just went through a second ago to unbuckle and what have you. Okay, and then also make sure that the line is clear. So I always start off with it on the back of the dog. And here we go. So this is step number 2. The leash is attached to an anchor, and I want you, when we hit the end of this, to give a big display. Big stay. Turn face to dog. Give me a nice open palm. Ready, cattle dog? Let's go. So we're just moving along, and I'm watching the line behind me. Stay. Just like that. So the line catches them. I turn, pivot, say stay. One more time. Free. We move along. Before you begin this exercise, make sure that the leash is on the back of the dog, so the dog is not tangled up. Let's go. We're moving along. I'm watching the line, and stay. Good boy. Big, big open display. Big open display. Okay, step 2. We're going to repeat the same procedure with a big difference. No visual display. You'll only get the command stay. Just an auditory signal. All right, let's demonstrate. Free. Come on, cow dog. Okay, we're just going to keep rolling here. Stay. And you move away. Again, no visual display. One more time on that procedure. Free. Let's do it again. Here we go. Move along. Stay. Just like that. Very good. Good job, cow dog. You're doing a good job, babe. Free. Attaboy. Okay, so let's talk about step number 3. What is step number 3? We are going to move into a long line, still attached, or sorry, not attached at this point, in this part of the procedure right here. So now we're going to move away. Come on, cow dog. And I'm going to untie it from my little kettlebell here. And by the way, you got something attached to a kettlebell when you move around. Go ahead and get a couple reps of those curls in there. Might as well add a little fitness into your training. A lot of fun. All right, so I'm untying right now. And the dog knows this long line is attached to it. Knows the long line is there. It is present. But no longer will it be anchored. This is a vital, crucial step. So don't skip it. Long line's on the ground. About the same place it was just a second ago. And here we go. So captain's all over this for free. Again, we do not want the line to be tangled in the dog underneath. All right, so here we go. Ready? Let's go. And then at some point, let's go, cow dog. Stay. Move away. Move away from the dog. So tell the dog, auditory stay. Move away from the dog. You keep going. The dog remains right there. And you can go a little bit further. Again, if you do the same length of line for 200 repetitions, dogs can literally count. They really can. They can figure out, okay, right about now, I should be stopping and staying. As you've watched Cattle Dog do it already a couple times, because I've done this with him. So from this point here, maybe don't wrap back around. Start off right from here. Free. So we move along, stay. In other words, start switching the distance that you travel before you give the command stay. Change the direction. Free. Stay. And move along. Just mix it all up. But remember, you got that long line on there, and that long line is that haptic signal telling him that this thing may be taken up short at any moment. He doesn't know it's not attached to the kettlebell. It's still in the back of his mind. Because remember, up to this point, we'll talk about at the end of this video how many repetitions you should do per step. Free cattle dog. Okay, then the next step that we're going to move into is now I'm going to take off my red leash. The dog will kind of semi be free. At least he'll think it is. Still has that long line attached to it. Now, instead of correcting the dog with the leash or being taken up short, we're going to step on the leash. Step on it. And if you have to, reach down and grab it. So if you feel uncomfortable right now doing this behavior, do it in a fenced-in area or get a longer line. Something that you can get your foot on. All right, cow dog. Free. So we're just moving along here. Free. I'm going to try and get him to go away from me. Go away from me. He wants to hang out with me, so let me grab a little pine cone here or something. All right, cow dog. Free. Stay. Just like that. Again, if you have to use a visual, use a visual. So we'll do that one again. The most important thing is don't get caught up watching your dog when you do this procedure right here. Watch the line. Watch it paying out. Keep your eye on the line. So you don't see your dog disappear into the next county and the line going with it. So again, cattle dog. Ready, buddy? Free. Free. Stay. Okay, welcome to live videos, baby. You get to see what I do. He didn't really want to go after it. Captain, you've seen him in a lot of videos. He's incredibly intelligent. Don't think for a second that he doesn't have an idea what's happening next. Free, but I think you get the gist of it. You want to simply follow your dog, staying always within reach of this leash. So you can say stay at any given moment, or you can reach down and snatch up that leash at any given moment. Okay, and the final step is, you're probably guessing what it is. Everything comes off the dog. No leash, no long leash, no short leash. Maybe leave the collar on, especially if it has some sort of identification. Move to a fenced-in area. Go borrow a tennis court. Go borrow a fenced-in yard. Go to a baseball park, anywhere. Keep it safe at first. Practice doing this behavior over and over again. I will give you a little bit of advice. Keep it short, meaning both in time, how long you do this for, the length of time, probably about 10 minutes, 15, plenty. Also, short in distance. Don't practice this initially when the dog is completely off leash in that contained area and there's the dog a good 70, 80 feet away from you. The closer you are to your dog, just like it is with a human being, the more influence you have over their behavior. Keep that in mind. Start easy, easy. Okay, so how many times, how many repetitions should you do per step? Well, I'm not even going to talk about the one where we do the static stay. Go accomplish that, however many repetitions that requires to have a static stay. But as far as the other procedures I showed you, the long line attached to the kettlebell, big display, long line attached to the kettlebell, auditory only, long line no longer attached to the kettlebell or anchor, and just giving auditory only, finally graduating into the dog's completely off leash, I would recommend at minimum of 50 repetition per step. And don't do them all in the same day. Knock out step 1 in the morning, maybe step 2 in the evening, next day step 3, step 4, and that's why I told you, you can train this easily. This is an easy behavior to train within about 5, maybe 2 to 3 days maximum. But again, take your time. Okay guys, so that's teaching your dog how to freeze in place upon command. If you have any questions, send them to us, but give it a good shot. Have fun with your dog, and I'm out here, and I'll catch you on the next video.